Welcome to Pirate Cooks, pirating restaurant recipes at home. This video is going to be a bit off our normal beat. This is one of those recipes that's been somewhat lost to time. Some 60 or 70 years ago, every kid would have known what sponge candy is, but today it's not very common to run across. Sponge candy is a delicate toffee, and an addition of baking soda can leave it with an almost salty flavor, which of course means it's complemented by chocolate. While it may not be traditional to coat these, tradition should always come second to chocolate. You're going to need a candy thermometer. Some of these things are very cheap and inaccurate, so test it. Set it in a pot of boiling water. If the boiling water reads 212 Fahrenheit, it's spot on. If not, add or subtract as many degrees as it's off when using it. Also, prepare a pan with parchment that covers the sides. You do not want to end up chipping away at this stuff. Use paper and save a lot of headache. Now we need a pot with some height so the candy doesn't bubble over. The ideal pot for candy making would be copper, but here we're going with the second best, heavy aluminum, which heats very evenly. Stay away from using any stainless steel for this. It scorches very easily when candy making. This is as simple as it gets. A cup of sugar and a cup of light corn syrup. We're shooting for a temperature of 295. The mix will start to turn yellow when you're getting close. Don't bother stirring unless you see darker areas forming in the pot. As long as this is cooking evenly, just let it go. Now that we're at temp, we're going to add a tablespoon of baking soda, which I should have sifted first. And trust me, the first time you eat a clump of baking soda in one of these, you'll do this. And then, optionally, a tablespoon of vinegar. Adding vinegar is the traditional way to make this, but there's some give and take to adding it. The obvious is that it would react with the aluminum pot, but it would only be in there for a few seconds, and the baking soda is there to neutralize the pH, so I wouldn't be concerned. As for flavor, at this temperature, the vinegar taste cooks off almost instantly, so that's not an issue either. What the vinegar would do is create more air pockets when it reacts with the baking soda and give you a crispier end product. The drawback to crispier is it also means it's more brittle. Your instinct is probably to put this in a smaller pan so you can get a uniform shape. Don't bother. Even with the sharpest knife, this is going to break the way it wants to, and you'll be eating little toffee crumbs as you work. With the vinegar, it's even more so. While the texture the vinegar creates is probably more pleasing, it's just a mess to work with. Once it's solidified, give it a rough chop. Like I told you, it won't be uniform. Now turn your attention to the chocolate. Here I'm using 2 cups of milk chocolate chips. Use dark if that's your preference, but I am assuming you're using real chocolate, meaning it should say cocoa butter in the ingredients list. Toss in 4 tablespoons of softened butter and microwave this in 20-second bursts. Stir and use an instant read thermometer after each time. You don't want milk chocolate to go above 84 Fahrenheit or it turns into a bit of a mess. As you get closer to temp, shorten the length to 10 seconds and then 5 if you have to keep going. The important thing is don't go over temp. If you do, you'll know, but don't worry, it's not the all is lost moment. You can recover it, just add some cold milk a tablespoon at a time until it breaks down. You can ask me or anyone else who's overweight. Chocolate forgives. Once it's melted, get some tongs or a fork to dip your candy. Toss the chocolate back in the microwave for a few more seconds if it starts to solidify and get hard to work with. Line them out on some parchment, and then set the tray in the fridge for 20 minutes or so to harden them up. And enjoy! The recipe and link to our website is below. See you next time.